Toussaint. Because the amount of information known about Toussaint is so much, I will split the video about this duchy into a few parts. Starting off with the geography and the history of the land. One of the last places to cover when talking about the Nilfgaardian expansion to the north is Toussaint. Most often referred to as the land of love and wine, Toussaint is a duchy east of the Amel Mountains and lies at the foot of Mount Gorgon. The landscape consists mostly of lush fields, large vineyards, green forests and numerous hills. The Saint-Martour river, which flows through the middle of the duchy, forms an important part of Toussaint. Within the Saint-Martour valley, vineyards blossom and produce world-renowned wines like Est, Hervelus, Fiorana, Pomino and many more. These wines benefit from the volcanic soils. As you may have guessed, below this land of fairy tales run streams of lava, which forms cave below the land. There is an enormous underground cavern system, all hollowed out by lava. It is said that these caves are connected to the center of the earth. Because of the mountains, Toussaint is mostly isolated from the bordering countries like Makturga to the south, Nazir to the west, and the slopes to the north. To the east there are mountain ranges. When roaming around Toussaint, you'll notice two strange rocks with water flowing through them in the southeast. This location is called the L'Enfer Pass. This name is a wordplay on the French de l'enfer, which means from hell. And this name does make sense. If you would be able to travel through this pass, you would eventually have to cross the Tirtocher and Fairy Mountains. You would end up near the core of the desert, which is almost a literal hell. So the name, Pass from Hell, makes sense. There are a number of passes that lead out of the duchy. However, once winter arrives, it is almost impossible to leave the duchy. For this region, a lot of people are forced to stay in Toussaint until the snow melts. Even though the winters are tough in the mountains surrounding Toussaint, the duchy itself doesn't get cold. The weather in the winter is still very pleasant. The history of Toussaint. Around the time the Witcher games and books take place, Toussaint is a duchy which is ruled by humans. This hasn't always been the case though. These lands have been inhabited for centuries. The caves and caverns are inhabited by intelligent creatures like Korrats, Cumulices, Priskirniks, and many more unknown creatures. Some of these creatures were even unknown to Witchers in the 13th century and are still not discovered. Because the underground part is mysterious, there is not much known about it. More is known about what happened on the surface. In the 8th century before Resurrection, BR in short, about 600 years before the conjunction of the spheres, a group of Aanside settled the lands. They built beautiful cities and palaces made out of white marble and ivory. Beauclair was built by the elves, along with some other cities like Corvo, which was missing from the Blood and Wine expansion for some reason. Corvo Bianco is said to be near the city of Corvo. Visigoda of Corvo was probably born in the city as well. The elves ruled the land for almost 1,600 years, until humans arrived to the region. The elven king, Divitef, had to deal with an invasion of humans led by Ludovic in the year 781. The elves left their cities, destroyed them along with the palaces, and went to the Amel Mountains, taking everything they could with them. However, Ludovic wanted more. He went up to the Amel Mountains with his armies and demanded that Divitaf would surrender and proclaim Ludovic the king of the region. Divitaf, like most elves, was very proud and refused. His army was beaten by the humans. Saddened by his defeat, he agreed to pay the homage. He, however, didn't want Ludovic to be the king, and he prepared a plan. By creating golems, which looked like statues, they would be activated once Ludovic held his next speech during the homage. The next year, however, in 782, the humans celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the victory with the pogrom, killing almost all the remaining elves, including Divitov, which resulted in his plan never being set in motion. Divitov was laid to rest in Turm's Palace ruins in the Caroberta woods.
This Divitov was to pay tribute to humans, producing statues of this sort each year. Yet he did so but once, for he perished in the massacre of non-humans at the foot of Mount Gorgon in the year 782. It's fortunate he did too, as Divitov had planned Ludovic's downfall, for he sculpted not statues, but columns that masqueraded as such, columns activated with words said in homage. Columns that would have turned the king and his bodyguards into so much colorful confetti.
Typical treachery embodied elves. Psst.
Only one piece of the elven history remained untouched. Tirna Bea Ariane, a hidden necropoly, which would be continued to be in use for several ages, and was protected by the Ansavern, better known as elven sages. The entrance was hidden within the caves, and Avalach painted fake prehistoric drawings on the walls to try and have humans not dig there, because they should be afraid of destroying their so-called possible history. He just wanted to prevent the cemetery from being discovered and from being ruined by humans. After the elves were all gone, humans now inhabited the land. They didn't start with wine, however. They were mining in the ground, as it is rich with minerals. Along these mines, several underground dungeons were constructed to imprison political enemies. The land used to have many lordships, like Epikeia, with its capital, Fort Astre, at the Gorgon foothills. The Lord of Epikeia mounted his horse and vowed to complete a full circuit around the castle while riding on top of the walls. He, however, plummeted to his death after a few paces. His beautiful daughter, Kunigunde, swore that she would marry the man who would complete what her father had attempted. Many suitors lost their lives attempting what she'd asked for. Eventually, one succeeded, and decided, based on all the carnage that she had wrought, that she was not worth it, and he left. Kunigunde now realized how despicable she had become, and threw herself off the walls onto the rocks below. After this, the lordship became part of what's now known as Toussaint. Between the events of 782 and the 12th century, at some point, the landscape of Toussaint was significantly changed. An Assyrian duke, called Adam, who I talked about a bit in my video about Nasir, attempted to regulate the flow of the Saint-Retour river, so be more to his likeness and create more fertile grounds. However, in the process, it affected Toussaint and created the Saint-Retour marsh. Not only did he create a marsh, he flooded a great number of villages, private estates, the elven palace Artach, and half of Crane Isle. In the 12th century, the region witnessed its first reforms. Started by Duke Henry III, who wanted to civilize the realm to be more like Nilfgaard. Henry III, also known as Henry the Fat, diminished prison guards, forbade physical punishments and dark cells, limited flogging, allowed prisoners to possess private property and walk around the prison grounds. The prisoners were also fed properly and taught how to read and write. Henry hoped to lower the crime rate. This, however, didn't work as planned, and a new prison had to be established. His daughter, Adela Marta, who was Anna Henrietta's great-grand-aunt, ordered the palace of Beauclair to be restored and established the city of Beauclair, and planted seeds of chivalric traditions in the duchy by organizing a tourney for her suitors. She rewarded the qualities she valued most in men, strength, valor, and cunning. On her journey south, she met the youngest son of the Nilfgaardian Emperor, Thoros var Emrys, and wed him, resulting in Anna Henrietta and Ciri being far cousins from each other. Carolina Roberta, Adamarta's daughter, continued the reform. She forbade the use of pointed knives during feasts, as she found the custom of using them as toothpicks barbarous. She also was the one to recognize the cult of Lebioda, brought to Toussaint by Saint Plegmund. Her granddaughter, Anna Henrietta, who was thus the second cousin of Fringilla Vigo, started her rule in 1258. She had more power than her husband, because the people loved her more. Raymond, her husband, eventually died in 1265, making her the sole ruler of Toussaint. However, she was kept unaware of what happened outside of the realm, and only learned of the Second Northern War in late 1267, thanks to Geralt's Hansa, resulting in her imprisoning Minister Tremblay in a tower. And this rounds up all the history of Toussaint up until the books. More parts about Toussaint will be released soon. If you want more Witcher lore videos, subscribe and like the video. Till the next video. Bye.